The weather was great. I mean, for those of us who come from Accra, it was wonderful to be able to see the sun come out dry. Because, frankly, yesterday as we were coming, that was one of my concerns. I mean, this is all part of the southern belt, and so I was worried about what the weather would be like. But the weather came out, it was really well. It was good to see our athletes run. We had 2 or 3 injuries, but again, that's always expected at a high level competition. We had some really good performances. I mean, again, when you compete on grass, people don't really see the times, because if you try to compare the grass times to the tartan, you'll never be happy. But I suspect, I haven't seen the results, I timed the 4th person in the 100 meters at 12:10, so I suspect that the Beatrice German and maybe Safia Bright run 11 something, and that would be really good on grass. I also remember the boys' high jump. Boyson, who ended up being beaten, I think he had the height, but his trajectory was wrong. I mean, he was jumping on grass without shoes, and he still went, I think it was 198, so that was a really wonderful performance. Javelin, Jifa threw 64 meters and something, that was also really brilliant. You saw the 200-meter men's race, really competitive race. You saw the men's 3,000, the young man from Accra Poly run a heck of a race, and so I think, all in all, I think there were some really wonderful performances that came out of today. I think there are 2 things. I mean, first of all, I think the benefit to the athletes themselves of seeing the rest of their country. I mean, I was talking to an athlete yesterday night when we got here, and she told me, she said, if it wasn't for this competition, she would probably never ever come to Akatsi. This is an athlete who's coming from the Ashanti region, and I guess if you look at the road between Kumasi and Accra, it never runs through Akatsi, you know. So I think there's an educational sort of aspect to letting people see how people who are their own countrymen live in the different parts of the country. I think there is that. But there's also the benefit of letting the local people sort of get to see national level competition. I've always argued that when kids go to their parents and ask for permission to go and do sports, frequently parents are paranoid. They want the kids to study and whatnot. But when you have parents come and see this level of competition, and they see there's a beauty and there's a profit that can come from competing, it makes it a lot easier for their children, for them to allow their children to compete. And as you saw in Sunyani, for example, the number of young students probably who came and watched the competition, I bet you that by next year some of them will themselves be sort of lending themselves to athletics. So there are those benefits that I think are inherent in taking athletics around the country. I'm happy that we did this. I'm really happy that we did Sunyani. I'm happy that we did Akatsi. I'm happy that we did Wa. I'm happy that we did Kofobia, because it makes athletes in those parts of the country recognize that they are part of the country, they are part of Ghana athletics. Some of the home-based athletes are making a good case for themselves, and I'll name some of them. I think Emmanuel Foria Sante is very close in the discus. I think we've got athletes like Kojo Champong, who made the team last year, who also could make the team this year. Beatrice German, as soon as she steps on tartan, will probably run an 11.5 and 11.6, so I think she will make the team easily. Osei Kofi, who wasn't here today, I hear he's nursing a hamstring injury, but I think right now he's making a good case if we send a 4x100 meter team for being on that event. So there are home-based athletes. There's Salome Ajay. There's of course Shokia Idrisu in the 400 meters. There are people who potentially can make the team, and it's an issue of running the times. We've always, part of the circuit was designed such that 2 of the competitions will be on tartan tracks and 2 of them will be on non-tartan tracks. I mean, again, we decided we weren't going to limit it to tartan tracks because that would limit us to Accra, Kumasi, Tamale and Takoradi. And so this year we've done the first 2 on non-tartan tracks in Sunyani and Akatsi, and the next 2 will be on tartan tracks in Accra and in Tamale. And so now I'm expecting the performances to take a notch up. And we will see I think we will see from our home-based athletes the kinds of times that we run. Today, Safia Bright in the 100 meters really surprised me. You saw how the gap she put between herself and Beatrice German in the heats. And I was telling Beatrice after, and Beatrice didn't deny it. I said, that girl made you get up in the final. And Beatrice got up very quickly in the final because she remembered what had happened this morning in the heats, and it made Beatrice run a really good race. And so there are quite, I mean, the women's 100 meters, there are 4 or 5 young girls who are showing that they are prospectively national athletes in the next 2 or 3 years.
Are we going to the All Africa Games?
Well, it really depends on country, depends on National Sports Authority, depends on the Ministry of Sports. My position is that if we are interested in sending teams like athletics and whatnot, then it's imperative that we provide money now. It can't be an issue of providing money a week or 2 weeks before the games, because we will end up in Congo with athletes who aren't as prepared as they should be. So I think it's now. I mean, the US athletes are pretty much, apart from 5 of our athletes, all of the rest have finished their seasons. And now some of them have started work. One of them works from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. And I'm telling you, when you work at those hours, there's no way you can train effectively. And so it's really important that National Sports Authority, Ministry recognize timing is important. It's not just whether you give money and how much money, but the timing of the delivery of money is important.